up, y'all? It's Poppin' and Steve. Also reacts to this vid by Miss Mojo. It's titled Top 10 TV Shows We Shouldn't Have Been Watching as Kids. There are a lot of things that we shouldn't have been watching. SpongeBob even has some inappropriate jokes, for sure. But after watching that video about Dan Schneider and how creepy they were with adding adult jokes in these kids shows, I don't know. Hopefully they go over some things and expose some of the writers from some of these shows. But anyway, let's see what's on here. Let's watch.
You must be exhausted, Fred, dear. Would you like to freshen up?
Yes, been quite a trip it has.
Welcome to Ms. Mojo. And today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 TV shows we shouldn't have been watching as kids.
Follow the Pied Piper of Hampstead to the gates of oblivion and look what has brought us!
For this list, we're looking at the most notable
these are made for
television
adults.
series from our youth with the inappropriate jokes that went right over our heads, as well as shows that still give us nightmares to this day. Which of these series traumatized you growing up? Let us know in the comments. Number 10, Jerry Springer. Say it with us now. If you don't remember chanting Jerry Springer's name along with the studio audience
slapping
as a
at
child,
Steve in the
you
head.
had a
That's
much
Steve.
more
That's not
wholesome
Steve.
upbringing than we did. His talk show was the definition of trash TV, always ripe for fights, parent reveals, and other drama.
I don't know if my baby is AJ's or David's.
Oh.
This show went on to 2018. That is wild.
But America just couldn't get enough. This isn't one of those kid shows we later realized was disguising some pretty dirty joke. Oh no. This is just one of those shows that your mom had on, which meant that you had to watch it too. And it never tried to hide its lewdness. Seriously, Springer coming
I'm
down
7
a
months pregnant and
stripper
still
pole is an
stripping.
image we'll never forget.
This show was so fake.
Number 9, Beavis and Butthead. With their iconic voices and even more iconic laughs, Beavis and Butthead were a staple in the household of any 90s kid.
Are you gonna laugh for the rest of your lives every time someone says the name Butt Kiss?
But while their dumb humor often made us laugh, a lot of the show went right over our heads. Beavis and Butthead followed the antics of two teenagers who did not care about
They were
anything but
teenagers?
themselves and rock and roll.
I thought they were adults.
Yet behind
Why
all
are they
that
so
adolescent
old?
indifference, the writers
And
were hiding
crusty.
some pretty clever social commentary. Still, as kids, did we care about or even understand what Beavis and Butthead had to say about society? Did we care that watching the show was like looking into a mirror?
I vaguely remember Beavis and Butthead, but
Absolutely
not really.
We just wanted some laughs. Number 8, The X-Files.
I never watched
If you've
this.
grown up believing in conspiracy theories, distrusting the government, and also believing
But
that
I do know the
aliens
theme
definitely
song.
exist, you
Whenever
can
I
thank the
hear
X-Files.
it, I know it's X-Files.
Extraterrestrials.
Maybe my grandma used to watch it. I don't know.
Logically, I would have to
But I feel like
say
it was
no.
on.
This beloved 90s pop culture staple taught a generation of kids to question
Ew.
everything. But we were all too young to be watching it in the first place. We definitely did not understand the high level of espionage and cover-ups that were happening at the time.
Sometimes the only sane response to an insane world is insanity.
But watching Mulder and Scully solve mysteries was still the highlight of most of our weeks. And if there's one thing we did understand, it's that they were the epitome of true love.
Really? They had a romantic relationship? Child. I don't know nothing about the show.
Number 7, Jackass. The true meaning of friendship.
Jackass was
Performing
good.
death-defying stunts together.
Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville. Welcome to Jackass.
Names like Johnny Knoxville, Steve-O, and Wee Man
That was
will
only on
forever
for 1
mean
year?
the world to those of us who grew up in the early 2000s. But just because we've come to
Why
love
do I feel
these
like this was
wild
on for a
guys
long
and their
time?
exploits, that doesn't mean that watching Jackass was the best thing we could have done for our young minds.
They used to do the stupidest shit.
No matter how many times the show warned us that these pranks were best not tried at home, a brave few among us could not be stopped.
And that's one thing I'll say to give credit to Gen Z. Like, although Gen Z can be annoying sometimes, at least y'all are like more aware of like social issues, and y'all are known for doing more productive things with your time at times. But back then, absolutely not. We was watching stupid shit like this. fucking Jackass. Like, and people try to make it seem like, oh, this generation does stupid shit. Every generation has done dumb shit. You know, this was the epitome of stupidity.
Few broken bones, and a few severely crushed egos, we've all hopefully learned to leave it to the professionals.
Did I go a couple?
Number 6, Rocko's Modern Life. Back in the early 90s, Nickelodeon had a real thing for quirky animated shows about animals, chock full of dirty jokes no kid could ever understand. We almost went with the Ren and Stimpy show to highlight this very specific genre, but we've got another little creature in mind. Rocko's Modern Life has become notorious for being one of the most inappropriate kid shows to ever grace our screens.
Really?
Ah, you can't fool me. I can smell a beaver from 30 miles away.
It did feature some smart social satire, but for the most part, low-hanging fruit is what it chose to shoot for. With sexual jokes out the wazoo, there's no way we should have been watching this show as young as we were.
Oh baby, oh
I
baby,
vaguely
oh
remember
baby.
this.
Rocco.
Hobby Naughty, what?
Mrs. Bighead.
Number 5, Family Guy. A lot of the cartoons we watched growing up might have been inappropriate, but at least they were marketed towards children.
I squandered my munitions budget on that insipid Rugrats video.
Family Guy, on the other hand, is decidedly adult.
I need it because I think I might be pregnant.
What? My God, are you sure it's yours?
Now, some of us probably came to this animated show in our later childhood years, but that doesn't mean we were old enough to completely get it.
What the hell was that?
Yet, watching Family Guy as a young preteen was almost like a rite of passage. Still, we didn't grasp the critique of American...
I'll never forget. I was watching this, and I remember my mom, like, coming in like, why you keep watching this big-headed baby? Like, what is
culture that's taking place, or most of the more meta jokes that Brian and Stewie are making.
Oh my God, what's with Meg's voice? She sounds like someone who's about to give up a huge opportunity.
Thankfully, it taught us to look for that kind of searing commentary later on, and it's pretty funny too. Number 4, Unsolved Mysteries.
A young housewife who disappeared. A local hero turned bad. An
I've never
escape
seen
convict. 3 people whose fate remains a question mark.
While it might feel like we've been experiencing a true crime popularity bump for the past few years, any 80s or 90s kid can tell you that we've had that fever for much longer. Unsolved Mysteries started in 1987, and though it has aired in fits and starts over the years, it still manages to freak kids out. The show is responsible for turning a generation of children into aspiring private eyes.
There was not a single clue in the strange disappearance and death of Kimberly Pandelios.
It's also definitely the reason so many of us can churn out facts about random cold cases
I bet
from
the
50
name
years
is
ago.
familiar,
While we
but...
have fond memories of Unsolved Mysteries, we can admit that the show was far too realistic and brutal for our young psyches to handle.
Join me for these intriguing and fascinating cases of
He's
tonight's
creepy.
edition
He's a
of
creepy.
Unsolved Mysteries.
Number 3,
Oh,
Tales from the Crypt. The horror genre feels
this
like
show
something
is
you would
goated.
or should want to stray away from as a kid. Yet there sure were a lot of scary series that we ended up watching back in the day.
Well, hello there.
So ugly.
Some of us enjoyed reading scary stories to tell in the dark, or watching and reading Goosebumps. But
Oh my God, which book series was that where you chose your own mystery? Was that Goosebumps? Oh, I love those books. I would reread those books and like choose different different paths each time. Oh, I love those books. Were they Goosebumps? I don't know.
least kid-friendly option was the delightfully spooky Tales from the Crypt.
Choose your own adventure or
You,
something.
I
I said choose your
call
own mystery.
four-sided triangle.
Hosted by the always freaky Crypt Keeper, this horror anthology dove into every
Great
terror
show.
under the sun. And by virtue of airing on HBO, it did not face the same restrictions that some of the genre's other series did.
Naughty or nice.
Oh, this is scary now. Girl, shut up.
Whether it be
always
violence,
mess
nudity, or curse words, we saw it all years before we should have on Tales from the Crypt. Number 2, Are You Afraid of
This
the
is
Dark?
goated too.
When you were little, what were the sounds that went bump in the night that made you
They did like a revamp or whatever with Tia and Tamara. I remember they were on an episode. Oh, I love this show.
scared to get out of bed?
This is a warning to all who join us. You're going to leave the comfort of the light.
It says 2019 to as if this is still on.
Of the supernatural.
They brought this
What are
back?
the stories that still haunt you to this day? Well, we bet that a majority of those tales come from Are You Afraid of the Dark? This Nickelodeon horror series does not have quite the leeway that something like Tales from the Crypt did, but that almost makes it scarier.
Tell me that wasn't the best.
It had to be innovative in the ways it chose to scare us, and boy did it scare us. The show is centered around a group of kids who tell the audience different terrifying stories every
And then
week.
they run at the end.
For the approval of the Midnight Society, I call this story
The same. Oh.
Tale of the Dead Man's Float.
Oh, I thought he threw it in the air. I'm thinking LeBron.
We just have nightmare after nightmare about what went down. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, South Park. This animated show encompasses so much of what we've discussed throughout this list. Are there dirty
I never really
jokes?
watched
Is it
South
high
Park.
concept material? You can check yes on each of those boxes because South Park has it all.
I'm a cop, and you will respect my
For most of us, watching this series introduced us to satire and humor in a way we hadn't seen before. Much like Family Guy, we started watching way before we actually understood what was going on. By the same token, we couldn't appreciate the social commentary, caricature, irony, and all sorts of other devices that are baked into each episode.
Cartman? Cartman saved the day?
Can't be. It's only when you revisit it in later years that you appreciate everything it's doing. It's no wonder the show is still so popular.
Oh my god, they killed Kenny!
Do you agree with our picks?
Respect my daughter! Oh, the way he talks was so funny. Obviously, I'm familiar with it. Like, I've seen clips of it, and I'm pretty sure I've seen, like, segments from the episodes at people's house or whatever. It's a very popular show, so of course I know about it. Just like King of the Hill. I never watched that either, but I'm familiar with it. I've seen, like, parts of it. I know how the characters talk. But, yeah, I just never really got into it like that. But yeah, some of these shows are really good. They were goated. Damn, I don't feel like they make good shows like that anymore. They just not trying. Because these are some great shows. Y'all let me know what y'all think, though. Let me know what other videos you want to watch, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.